it was changing the gender dynamics in a way that helped men and helped women at the same time, because by giving women that bit of control, it then creates a ripple effect. And we were seeing make the first move becoming a mantra for so many women in their lives. Because once you do it, and you find that you're okay, rejection can happen, but you're okay at the end of the day. And that doesn't define you.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick. Almost 30 started as a conversation about the transition from our 20s to our 30s. But then we realized life is full of transitions. So we expanded our mission.
We are an intuition-led, wellness-focused lifestyle podcast that promises to deliver authentic conversations, diverse points of view, and insights rooted in optimism, growth, and intention. The Almost 30 Nation community is a group of purposeful dreamers who are smart, passionate, and always seeking the full potential in every aspect of their lives.
At Almost 30, we're making magic together. We dream it,
and then we do it.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
What is it? Something unplanned.
Staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window.
The sun illuminate the words that you cannot find reaching.
Keep going.
There's something in the distance.
Do you remember I think it still honestly exists.
So close you can almost taste it.
The first episode, maybe it's the first or second. And we did like the Britney Spears Lucky song. Do you remember like the different songs that I incorporated into the...
Oh, fuck her.
I almost want to find it and play it.
I don't know if it was like... Because
I don't even know.
It feels a little self-servant with that. But I knew there was something...
It wasn't self-servant. It was like riffing on one of the lyrics. Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. It's just us.
Oh my God. Hello. I didn't know we were recording. I would have tried my absolute hardest voice. Oh my God. When I was in high school, there was this chick that I used to hang out with. And she wanted to be like, she decided, she was like the prettiest girl in school. So she was like, oh, I want to be like a famous musician, because if you're pretty, you need to like
be famous.
Use it. Or whatever. And so we would be like in the car and it would be like me and my other friends and we'd be like joking, singing, like staring at the blank page, but just like that. And she'd be like, guys, sing for real. She'd be like, guys, I'm serious. Guys, I'm serious. Sing for real.
That's like what my parents would say to us.
We could never, we're not singing for real as a chorus in the back of my Honda Civic. She'd be like, guys, sing real.
She's trying to start a girl band or what?
I think she was just trying to like show off. I don't know. Oh my God.
I am fucking hyped. I just went to Training Mate for the first time. Training Mate is like an Australian
How
workout.
much cardio is involved?
Not a lot at all, which is my jam. But it is the highest intensity instructor I've ever, in terms of their energy. So they're all Australian. So they're like bopping around the room, talking like an Australian.
Body.
Oh, Luke. Oh, yeah. But it's funny because doesn't even matter. But like, I don't know if the instructors, the male instructors are so hot, like alarmingly hot, but I don't know if they're straight or gay. Fine. And it's kind of
very Australian.
It's kind of nice because they don't, and we've been to other places, like, I don't have to name them, where you just feel like their eyes are on you and they're like touching you and it's weird. These guys don't, they actually, by the end, I was like, please touch me or please give me attention.
Totally.
No attention whatsoever. So it was like generally nice. But what they do is kind of like this male on male, like creepiness. So like whether the instructor is straight or gay doesn't matter, but there'll be like a straight male in the room. They'll be like, oh, Matt, show me a nipple. Take your shirt off.
Shut up.
I swear. But like no one blinks. They're like, oh, haha. Like it's not inappropriate. Granted, if you said that to a girl, I mean, the place would close. He's like, oh yeah, man, bend over. Yeah, let me slap it. Great. And everyone's like, okay. It's hilarious. I really enjoyed it. It like, kind of took my mind off the workout. It was fun.
Yeah. I went a long time ago. I think at the one in WeHo.
Oh, okay.
With Luke. It was really good.
Oh, love Luke. He's on the wall. It's like a picture in black and white on the wall of him in a, I don't know what they call it, a scrubby, a dudgy. What is it called? The little Speedo?
Oh, dodgy?
I don't know.
Dougie?
But everyone's in a Speedo and it's amazing. His crotch is like blown up 10 times the size.
Face tunes it.
Oh, so fun. We'll go. We'll ask Justin to join.
He won't.
He just texted me and said, I missed you at Training Mate. I had to get a haircut.
He just said that?
He literally just said that. Did he have to get a haircut this morning?
Yes, he did actually. With Tracy.
He's like, oh, I heard you met my dude. You know, his friend was there.
Alex.
He's like, I would have been there, but I forgot I had a haircut.
Totally.
I said, you got to join me next time.
I think if I went, he wouldn't go.
Totally.
He wouldn't want to go.
Couples who work out together do not stay together.
Yeah. Couples who worked out together, good for you. That is not me. And never will be me.
Holy moly. How are you doing?
Great. How are you? What's going on? You know what? We need that Theragun back.
I'm trying. Okay. So the guy that I was dating, he's not an asshole, but it does make me question. I'm like, what is he thinking keeping my Theragun?
He has her Theragun.
It's a $600 Theragun.
Rude.
So I'm actually grabbing coffee with his roommate because I adore his roommate beyond.
Perfect.
He's this sweet, talented, amazing person. And I actually think part of the reason why I met him, I was like, I met you. So we're grabbing coffee, but there's part of me that wants to be like, can you give him the Theragun?
No, definitely. Ask the roommate.
I know. I don't want to be petty.
That's not petty, dude.
I should just text him and be like, hey, man.
At $600, it's taxable. That's property.
Hey, man, can you just mail it?
It's not like $200. It's like, yo, you need to W-9 this.
It's just surprising. It's surprising he wouldn't be like, hey, like, I have your Theragun. Like, I'm happy to like send it to you or meet you somewhere and give it to you. Like, I don't mind. Like, I'm sorry that I still have it.
Is it in his car, do you think?
Could be.
Yeah.
But I assume it's in his home to use.
Did he use it when you were together?
Oh, yeah. He liked
it. That is so not right. That is not right. That ain't right.
I know. Anyway, whatever. Since breaking up with him, about 5 other people have come in from my past and just called me incessantly. It's very weird.
Who?
The one, and then someone from high school, Jay. And he called me randomly the other night. And it was actually the most depressed I've ever been on the phone. So I knew, I was like, it was so low. It was very weird. I was like, and I shouldn't have answered. I should not have answered. It was just very weird. I was like, why are we talking right now, actually? You know, and I was just like kind of affirming what he's like, yeah, like, you know, I can't do a Southern accent right now, but
yeah.
I was like, how's life? He's like, you know, like white guy shit. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what are you talking about?
What, sir? Excuse me?
I was like, all right.
What do you mean?
I mean, he's like, golfing and...
When I saw him, I knew wearing that fucking golf hat. I was like, this is not the one.
Dude, say no more.
We were I don't know where I met him, but I saw him.
Oh, it was in Austin.
He's a sweetheart. But I saw him, he's wearing a golf hat and some short golf shorts. And I was like, it's not the one.
Not the one.
Not the one.
Golf guy was my type for probably like a year of my life.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when you're in Ohio, it's like my slim pickings. So I'm going to go with a golfer. I'm going to go with like an alcoholic.
Totally. Honestly.
Whatever.
It usually goes hand in hand because that's what they do on the course.
Yes.
Not to judge. That's a blanket statement. Not everybody.
If you guys are big golfers, you're not alcoholics.
Where are my lady golfers at?
I know.
Anyway, how are you? What's going on?
I had a good reading with Nikki Novo. So we talked about Lindsay's reading with Nikki a few weeks ago. And we met Nikki when we were at the Good Fest, and she's awesome. So she is based out of Miami, and she is an intuitive, a medium. And I really like her style. I told her that actually at the end, that I really enjoyed the way that she does her readings,
Yeah,
which
same.
is what you explained. But she goes into meditation before the session and she goes through all your chakras. So during the session, it's an hour and it's really just her sharing all the downloaded information. It's not very, what I liked about it is that it didn't feel like a therapy, which sometimes it can be, which is actually very nice at times. Sometimes with psychics and mediums, it can feel like therapy because you're kind of having a conversation with them. But it felt more like her just sharing the information that she had without judgment. She provided her insights and it just was nice to have the course of my life be affirmed and everything that I had thought had been going on and was affirmed. So it's just a really beautiful reading. She starts from the top, the crown chakra, and then she goes all the way to the root. And a lot of it was related to what I had thought had been happening as far as the business perspective of like us setting the foundation in the next couple of years, the path that we are taking as the business, like what we're trying to do in the next couple of years and having that be completely possible. And she talked a lot about boundaries, like me having created boundaries with people. And she's like, you don't let a lot of people in. She's like, you are actually very boundaried in the way that you interact with people and the way that you have been operating in the past couple years, which actually I very much feel. Because right now I feel like I don't even serve the people that I know very well enough. So I'm just like not at a space where I feel like I can hold more people. And sometimes I get scared because I meet so many people that I love that I'm like, oh, fuck, this feels like something to do. Because I'm so interested in them and I'm excited by them and I want to hang out, but it all feels like a chore sometimes because I'm like, fuck, I want to hang out with them, but I don't have time. So I kind of put up that boundary in that way. And nothing really to do with that, just to notice. But she said, she's like, you are a person that it is your responsibility with what you do to find people that are lesser known or that people don't know about and put them on, which is, definitely an agreement to what I feel like. And she said, she's like, your gift with your life is like your ability to be strategic and your ability to see for other people. And she's like, you actually help them see their vision and then you help them manifest it. She's like, so once you're able to monetize your ability to make someone see their vision, believe in it, and then set the steps in motion to do it, that will be like the next level for you. And I definitely...
Oh, I see that. 100%.
I know. I do too. Because I've even done that with people's that we know.
You just haven't monetized it completely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe when I'm older, I'll be able to like fully monetize that. And then she was talking to you about the stage thing. We had our last event. And she's like, actually, the larger the venue, the better you're going to feel.
That's interesting. I agree.
She's like, she's like, your look and vibration works for the bigger stages. Sometimes it may feel like too much in a small group. And I was like,
what do you mean?
Honestly, I was like, okay, I don't know what you mean, but I get it.
That is the magic of the stage sometimes too.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's like, yeah.
Just anonymizes everything.
Yeah.
Like it makes it not feel like the one-on-one connection in that way. And she also was talking about, my heart space. She's like, your throat chakra is the clearest throat chakra I've ever seen. Like it looks perfect. You're really speaking your truth and living in your truth in that way. She said, the heart space. She's like, that's where, your heart right now isn't super open. She's like, but I feel like it's part of your process. And I've even thought about that too, is it's like, it's not really, she's like, because you have so much depth, which I've said before, she's like, it's not really easy for you to just let it open and willy-nilly. She's like, so I think you should find opportunities to let it open across the next couple of years. And she's like, and when you have kids, she's like, and when you have kids, that's really going to be the moment for you where you're able to be like that. She's like, but to not freak yourself out and have a traumatic experience with birth or childhood or motherhood, you need to find small opportunities to open your heart. She's like, but right now within your business, I can see why it doesn't really necessarily make sense with everything, which was true and really nice. And
it's so cute about the kids. I feel that very much.
Oh, I know. Same, me too. I've always felt like that. I'm like, they're just going to rock my little world. And it was cute. She was talking a lot about Justin. She's like, oh, I see you with, Justin. She's like, he's so cute. You guys are great together. And she was talking a lot about his business and stuff with him that's going on, which is really nice and really affirming for him. So he's going to get a reading with her, and that's really his truth and message. So I won't really share that. But as far as Almost 30, everything felt really good. It felt really aligned. She talked a lot about like products and stuff and just like what we're going to be doing in the future, writing books. And yeah, it was great. There was nothing that surprised me. Nothing that surprised me at all.
It's always a tell of a good reading.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. It was just like what matched my intuition to hear it out loud.
Yes. How were the other chakras like?
So the heart, she's like, this is where I spent the most time.
Cool.
Throat was good. Third eye was good. The crown was like something with the crown. I'm not exact. I don't remember. And I don't even remember getting to the root. It was like we started and we talked about chakras sometimes, but then it was just informational.
Yeah.
You know, and then I didn't really go back to certain parts. But yeah, I mean, I highly recommend getting a reading with her.
Yeah, I loved it so much.
It was great.
Yeah, I think it was nice not to have that like extensive conversation. It really was just like receiving the information. Yes. You know, you could ask questions whenever and engage in conversation, but I just liked that I didn't have to do too much work, if that makes sense. Because sometimes like when you're an intuitive reading, they'll say something and ask you, does this make sense or does this relate? And then you kind of have to like dig deep and think about it. So it was really, she was just like delivering these truths and it felt really good. And then you can go off on your own and kind of think more deeply about it and connect the dots. And
yeah, the one thing was funny at the end. She's like, I said something about money. She's like, yeah, you actually don't have a money block at all.
Love that.
She's like, you have no money block. I was like, okay, so where is it? I actually was kind of bummed. I'm like, yo, I kind of want it so I could be like, it's gone. And then there was like a waterfall of money coming. So it was actually kind of confusing. I mean, I could see that, but it was just like interesting. I should have asked about the team. I think I was amiss there, but
maybe we should get a reading together at some point.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah,
I'd be down.
Or have her read the team and then we'll be in like the mirrored room where we're like looking in on it.
Honestly. Yeah. The Justin thing, she said, LA's really good for us. We're going to be in LA.
Awesome.
She's like, you know, I think you're having a hard time right now visualizing like how you'd raise kids in LA. Where would you guys live? And all of that kind of stuff. And that's completely true. So she was talking about that, like being in LA. She's like, it's really good for you.
Yeah. I think too, like us specifically, or just our generation in LA, like are kind of redefining what that's going to look like, you know, having a family, whether you have kids or not, or having a home, cultivating a home, like it's not going to be how our parents did it, like building their own house and then like it might be renting a house. It might be like bopping around in different Airbnbs. It might be one stable, you know, condo and you have a bunch of kids there before you move on. I don't know, but just redefining what that looks like. And, you know, I see like a Sophie Jaffe, you know, doing her thing and doing it differently and how they're, you know, changing. And I'm sure she'll share on her podcast what's going on, but it's all positive things, but she's doing it different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's so cool to watch. Point. It's like an expanding thing. So yeah, I hope that we're just kind of unafraid to do it our own way.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah.
That's cool.
Great. Yeah. I look forward to it. It was nice. There's a lot of answers that I didn't get, but they're really things I just need to figure out myself.
Did you ask or no?
No. Well, just like, you know, what is the thing at the end? What is the product? How am I going to help people with their businesses? You know, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, it's that. I feel like
big ass bug bite.
I saw that. It's a double.
Bugs need to leave me the fuck alone, dude.
We got some sweet meat.
Every time it's like a rash.
Mine's like a big bump, like hard bump. I think like certain people are allergic to bugs.
Yeah, I agree.
And some are.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening to our catch up as always. And we're so excited. We have Alex Williamson, Chief Brand Officer at Bumble.
It was fascinating to learn about Bumble's thought process and strategy behind digital dating and online dating. And I learned so much about different nuances about the space and their female forward focus. in the space and how they're doing things differently. And she just is a pleasure and a delight. She was open and fun. And I love how her past and her background is a little bit different, than someone you would assume to be the chief brand officer of a huge, huge company.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't super experienced in what people would think as the normal pathway. So I think she's really giving people hope for those, of our generation, that they don't have to have the very linear path that people think that they have to have.
Yeah, she built it with Whitney and the team from the ground up, which she talks about a lot. And she's just so proud. And you can tell by the way she talks about it that Bumble is putting good into the world. It's not just a dating app. They have Bumble BFF, they have Bumble Biz, but they're also, at the forefront of certain initiatives for women's rights. And we talk about how recently Bumble's founder, Whitney, is on a mission to clean up the internet. So a bill was introduced in the Texas House of Representatives that would make sending an unsolicited nude or sexual photograph a misdemeanor, punishable with a fine of up to $500.
I'm down.
Down.
We talked a lot about that. We talked about online safety.
Truly. The cyber flashing is something that happens all the time. I don't get it on the regular, but I've gotten it before.
Mm-hmm.
Always unsolicited.
Yep.
And there is no punishment for that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone gets punished if they're in public on a bus and they flash someone. So why not on the internet?
Yeah. I mean, the digital landscape is so crazy. So it's such an interesting examination of society right now to have these conversations and talk about like, what is the responsibility of government? What is the responsibility of police? What is the responsibility of people, to keep our kids safe or to keep people safe? And what does safety mean? Does it mean to not receive dick pics? Does it mean to have it be blocked? Does everything have to be reviewed? So yeah, that was a really great part of the conversation. And I'm really excited to share this with you guys. We love Bumble. We are huge fans, and we've worked with them, through our event in Austin. And Chloe on our team was an ambassador with them, and being aligned with them feels really right. So this interview is going to be awesome, and we are excited for you to dig in.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing with your friends. Join our secret Facebook group. We talk about everything in there. It's a super supportive, funny, inspiring community. I think the best place on the internet. I'm a little biased, but I think it's true. And just a little update. We have events coming up. So on September 12th, we are doing an event here in West LA at the Riveter with Nicole Lapin. Her new book, Becoming Superwoman. You will receive with your ticket purchase a signed copy, which is really exciting. And we're just gonna, as always with Nicole, just talk about that real, going from burnout to balance. We'll talk finance. We'll talk all the things. It's going to be super informative, valuable, and fun.
We just got Kai Santa Monica to donate food. So we have their bomb wraps and vegan brownies, which are amazing. So we'll have food, books, fun, everything there for you. And then also I would love to highlight our Australia events. So our events happening in Melbourne and Sydney in November. We have Rosie Acosta joining us in Melbourne, and in Sydney, I think we're figuring that out.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. Might just be us. Might be, we might have a guest, might be a special guest. So either way, it's going to be a blast. I've been getting a lot of messages from Australian listeners who are super excited for the events, and we are probably more excited than you are. It's going to be a really, really fun trip. So we will see you there. Thanks for listening. And we'll read a little something on the other side of this episode that we received from one of you. We love you.
We love you. Enjoy.
I don't know. Apps for me have always been fun. You know what I mean? Like, and like once, and Bumble's so different. And I just felt like I was always the one wanting to say something, but never feeling like that was normal. So to kind of normalize it was really, really empowering. I'm sure you hear that a lot, but
no, I actually love to hear it, because that's what we were trying to do in the beginning. It's like, I love meeting new people. I've had so much fun using Bumble, because to me, getting to see and meet new people and have all of those experiences, but not feel like I'm being coined as desperate or crazy for making the first move is so important. And that's what women have faced forever. It's these labels that we've been so willing to place on women since like the beginning of time, that women should, submit to a man or be like, basically give your power away immediately and into the hands of a man and play all these games. And that's what we wanted to change. We felt like that was broken and actually was creating inauthentic relationships.
Do you know like times in your life, can you think of times in your life where you felt like you potentially gave up the power to a man that you kind of see clearly now as something where that situation was happening?
100%. I think that for me in my life, my entire college was giving my power up to men. I remember I was one of the people who's guilty of waiting by the phone or deciding, I think that so often as women, we're taught to do whatever we need to do in order to be accepted or loved or, to fall into these relationships. And I think that it as simple as things like not being honest about what I wanted to eat at a restaurant, to
feel that
hiding your own interests and trying to just do watching sports for hours on end where you have no idea what happened for the past 3 hours. You weren't really
I used to
watching
watch Jeopardy with my ex-boyfriend.
And you're
kill
like,
me.
Do you guys have pita chips?
Yes.
And it was so awkward.
And we do that kind of stuff because it's been ingrained in society. It's like you have to find a partner or you have to find the significant other. Or there's something wrong with you, and there's something wrong with you if you have to put effort into it. And when really having that control allows us to get into healthy relationships that allow us to be ourselves and give us more confidence and all of those, everything that is so important and helping you become the most complete version of yourself. And I think that all of that is, look at any friends, 5 years ago, no one was making the first move. I remember very vividly when I was in college, actually, Whitney Wolf Hurd is our CEO and founder. And she and I went to school together and I was her big sister. So I felt like it was sort of like on me to give her advice. And I remember she was a go-getter in every aspect of her life, but she'd already had 2 companies when she was in college. She's incredible.
Whoa.
But she was also so eager to go after what she wanted in dating. And I'd be like, wait, you can't do that. I was guilty of being one of those people that brought her to this concept of women making the first move on Bumble. And so since Bumble started, I think it's been this incredible gift that I've been given is, I think that brands are representative of the people who build them. And I knew early on that if I didn't live my life empowered in every aspect of it, then the whole thing would be a lie. Living Bumble's not actually living the values that we're preaching to women, then there's something inherently wrong with that. And so it's been one of the biggest, the past 4.5 years for me have been an incredible journey. Because I challenge myself every day, almost dissect myself. I was actually talking at lunch earlier about how I analyze everything in relation to just relationship dynamics and gender dynamics and probably to a fault in my own personal life. But it's because all of this is, trying to gain as much access to information that we can to give to women to actually make them feel empowered in their choices and in their relationships and to get out of toxic ones. It's like opening people's eyes to the societal constructs that we've all believed forever to be true and just saying hey, the door is right there, open it and walk out and you can live your life the way you want. Just don't hurt anybody in the process and be kind and respectful.
What was the beginning like? I'm curious as to what the response from the males on the app was like. And I'm curious just the response in general to challenging the status quo and kind of larger picture, challenging, this misogynistic society, So what was that? Was there anything that we didn't see, in the public that was happening?
I'll tell you what was so interesting about it. So when we first launched Bumble and we were telling people about it, I'll never forget. I had been 2 of my exes. One said to me, "This is a cute little gig that you're doing." Another one said, which is something that people always do to women, I feel like when they're starting businesses. And then another said to me, aren't you embarrassed to be a part of something that's like a dating app? That's just so sleazy. Like, aren't you worried about your reputation? And I remember thinking in my head, we're going to change that. This is not going to be sleazy. The entire purpose of it was to create a classy place where people could actually meet online and not feel like it's this hookup culture. And I just remember those two things being but we heard it all the time. I just remember in the beginning, everybody saying this will never work because women will never make the first move. But also women were burnt from dating apps. They'd been treated with disrespect for since dating apps have been around, women were treated with, we're experiencing abusive behavior because it all comes down to feeling rejected. And when men constantly have to peacock and try to compete with one another and get a woman's attention, if the woman doesn't respond, it immediately triggers this response that is abusive and aggressive and gross. And that's where Whitney came up with this concept. And I think back then, so everybody was saying, that nobody really wanted to be associated with a dating app anyway. It was something that you were using at like 11 at night, like tucked back in the folder randomly on your phone screen and like hidden. And we were determined to change that and normalize the behavior of meeting people online. And then we were also having to change the perspective, not only being like, you're going to want to use a dating app. It's going to be more convenient. All of the like people that you want to meet are on there. Just really attractive guys or, whatever on the platform. And then saying also at the same time, like to our friends, like, you're going to love it. You're going to make the first move, which was, if you think about it, 4.5 years ago, that was an outrageous concept. And now we're about to pass 1 billion times that women have made the first move on our platform in 4.5 years.
Oh my God.
So back then, what we found was interesting and fascinating to me from the beginning was that it was giving men the chance, especially men who are maybe more reserved and quiet and aren't usually the types who would want to go up and talk to women at bars anyway. Imagine from their perspective, if you're shy or quiet and you're not assertive and you feel like you have to do that, that just puts people in like uncomfortable, awkward situations. So it was the first time that men were able to kind of sit down and exhale and know that a woman was actually interested in speaking to them. So we got incredible response from men in the beginning. We're so behind the concept. It was changing the gender dynamics. It was changing the gender dynamics in a way that helped men and helped women at the same time, because by giving women that bit of control, it then creates a ripple effect. And we were seeing make the first move becoming a mantra for so many women in their lives. Because once you do it, and you find that you're okay, like the rejection can happen, but you're okay at the end of the day. And that doesn't define you, then you can continue to try.
In regards to the abuse, we've seen that, with some of our friends who are on dating apps, they will go on a date with someone and they'll tell them politely that they are not interested, or either they'll ghost them and then they'll receive, this scathing response or message that, and it's usually outside of the app because they're texting at that point about how, and sometimes it'll be really long and personal, like rude things because like a man is hurt. How, what could women do in that case? And what is some advice that you say to people in that situation?
I had a random man call me middle-aged today at 31, be like, you're just a middle-aged woman with, not on Bumble, by the way. Sorry.
On the street.
It was on Instagram. And I get, cause you get trolls of misogynist trolls. Yeah. It's something that I'm familiar with.
Oh yeah.
Well, cause we're changing the dynamics and it's shifting things in a way that's threatening. I think that what you have to do, and obviously that's not personal. I don't know that person. But when it's somebody that you've gone on a date with or spent time with and you decide that it's not working out for you, I think that what's so important is to remember that where people come from, where that rejection comes from, is a place of such deep hurt that has typically nothing to do with you. You're just ending up inadvertently validating someone else's feelings of inadequacy. And that's not on you. That's on them. That's their own fault. And so a lot of what they reach back out with these personal attacks are really just projections of their own fears, failures, and shortcomings onto you. So I think that it's one of those things that as much as it hurts in the moment, realizing that where they're coming from is such a deep sense of pain that's not your responsibility, and creating that boundary for yourself is really important. And I think that's the easiest way to handle a situation like that. I would also say that I am a big believer in, and I've done both. I've ghosted. I'm guilty of it. I would be lying if I were sitting here being like, ghosting is very bad. Don't do it, because I've done it in the past. But I think that giving someone the just common courtesy and respect to say, I'm focused on myself right now. I'm not interested in dating or whatever it is, like some sort of short answer that makes them feel like there's some sort of closure. I think is always important. And just respectful dating, which I think that because the internet, I think that people are able to switch gears and avoid so easily that it's a lot easier to just not say anything and to disappear on somebody. But I think that the damage that it does to each of us is a lot more, because I'm a big believer that each person has their own feelings of that they're not enough. And it's if we can do whatever we can to prevent people from feeling that way, then we're putting good back into the world.
And I do feel like as, I'm getting older and doing more work on myself, dating, no matter whether it's on an app or otherwise, becomes a bit more supportive. Like I kind of see maybe some things I'm working on in that other person, and there is some more compassion. So I'm wondering too, like, what about Bumble is different than other apps that really facilitates that type of interaction, so that there isn't just this quick swipe, you're hot, you're not. I know there's a swipe feature, but just in terms of like the profile and how people connect.
I think something that you said that was really interesting that I'd love to touch on too is how I think that dating holds a mirror back up at you and shows you yourself.
Yes.
And you can look for somebody else to like validate you. But really at the end of the day, relationships can be healing if you're willing to do the work yourself that you're learning from that relationship, right? Because I think that we can put so much pressure on somebody else to, we could say they're here to fix, we can give that responsibility to other people, but the relationship actually teaches you so much about yourself. I think that what we've been doing in terms of that is our profiles are very in depth now, so that we've done a lot of updates to where you can really showcase your personality and who you are and show up as your most authentic self online. On Bumble, we have badges and questions in the app to really show more color to who you are. We have Spotify integration and Instagram integration to really paint a full picture of your interests. And then we also have conversation starters in the app that we put in place to help people get into more interesting, meaningful conversations, because it's hard to come up with a first move. And I think that now that we've flipped the script, women see how hard it has been historically for the other person to make the first move. It takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of creativity, and especially if you want to break through the typical, often boring conversations that we run into and find some depth.
Mm. A lot of people ask us about our morning routines, and a staple of mine as of the last 6 months is athletic greens. Honestly, it has made such an incredible difference. It's the first thing I put in my body. This is like your all-in-one daily multi-super powder. It has 75 proven ingredients, and the combination of these ingredients is really key. So there's real nutrition sourced from real food, plus probiotics and digestive enzymes, and this helps your body absorb and synthesize. This is backed and proven by science. These ingredients have really high bioavailability. This is gluten and dairy free. It's paleo, keto, and vegan friendly, which is great. And they pass a strict analytical and microbiological test that Athletic Greens does. It has vitamins and minerals. It has alkaline nutrient-dense superfood complex, a nutrient-dense extracts, herbs and antioxidants, and digestive enzymes and pure mushroom complex. This is really great for your immune system, for your nervous system, for your digestive system, and more. I just can't say enough about it. Anytime I'm feeling a little low in energy, if I need to pick me up, if I just feel like I need to catch up with my health, whether I'm traveling or haven't gotten enough sleep, this really puts me on the right track. So if you'd like to try Athletic Greens, I cannot recommend it enough. Go to athleticgreens.com/almost30 and you will get a travel pack of 20 Athletic Green packets, which is a value of $79 for free with your purchase. So that's athleticgreens.com/almost30 and you'll get 20 free travel packs valued at $79. So join the secret Facebook group. Let us know how you're feeling once you try Athletic Greens. I cannot recommend it enough. So I'm turning 32 coming up, and I'm really obsessed with just making sure my skin is looking happy and healthy, glowing. And yes, I know I'm going to age. I'm not trying to fight it, but I just want my skin to look the best it can look. So I have really become obsessed with Dr. Roebuck's products. This is a results-driven skincare brand powered by clean, effective, multi-benefit ingredients, many of which are native to Australia, which is where the brand is from. These clean formulations use minimal ingredients and they achieve maximum results. I wanted to shout out my favorite product right now by Dr. Roebuck's. It's the Ningaloo, Ningaloo. Cute name. This is a firming serum, a breakthrough 6-ingredient copper peptide serum that helps to firm and improve the elasticity of skin for a more defined, refreshed look. So this is hyaluronic acid in it, and you really see the difference. So I put this on at night, and by morning, I wake up looking like a 3-year-old. So I'm really, really happy with it. So if you'd like to try Dr. Roebuck's, you can find Dr. Roebuck's on Sephora.com and search Dr. Roebuck's, Dr. Roebucks. And again, Sephora is where you can find Dr. Roebuck's. Super easy to find, Dr. Roebuck's at Sephora.com.
What do you think? This is what I was thinking about on the way here is like a lot of the conversations we've been having about gender. Like, what do you guys think about, or what is the future of Bumble if you are, a man that identifies as a woman, or you're a they or a them, or you I actually don't know the app. So I don't know if you guys have something for that. So if you are like a man that is the feminine part of the relationship.
Yes, we do. If whatever you identify as is available on Bumble, it's in your settings, and that's it. We're completely available to anybody, for anybody to use. It's interesting because we're optimized. Like our whole app is based on ending misogyny, which actually plays a lot into everybody with gender identity. It plays in. Misogyny plays into homophobia. Mm-hmm. It plays into a lot of different factors that I think are rampant and toxic in our society. And we are a platform that's optimized for same sex, for different genders. But because the media, like everybody has known us as the app where women make the first move. It's something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that we're totally available. And what's nice about Bumble is that we're values driven. So our mission is to end misogyny. Our values are kindness, respect, equality, and accountability. Mm-hmm. And everybody is expected to treat each other that way on Bumble, or they're kicked off our platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's probably something too with like protecting that group of people, because it's just like the trolls and the people that attack gender non-binary people, or people that don't, identify as a certain gender, is like so intense. So like the protection of that group of people is probably so much harder, because the trolls are so much more intense.
It is. But it's something that our customer experience team is, what I love so much about that team is that they are like, they're as our users' biggest cheerleaders, and have really personal connections and conversations with people, because dating in general is hard. And it is hard if you're used to being trolled, but it can be challenging for our team is there to, even down to like, I'm not getting enough matches on Bumble. Our team helps optimize profiles all the time so that people have a better experience on our platform. So a lot of people reach out through social and connect with our team, and our customer experience team is incredible. They really have our users' best interests and have our users' backs and feel for them all day. They're also the happiest people in the office, which is incredible. They're just wonderful, wonderful humans.
I know that there's a new feature on the app, and you'll have to, help me get more specific because I do forget, but where, inappropriate content, anything like that is detected.
He's a private detector.
The private detector.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also I would love to talk about, Whitney, fighting for the legislation against sending inappropriate content.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So we're trying to criminalize lewd images.
Exactly.
And indecent exposure online. That is something that we feel really strongly, and Whitney feels really strongly that it should be taken as seriously online as it is in person. If somebody were to walk up and flash you in the street right now, they would get, it's illegal. They'd get into trouble for that. And so we are trying to do that online as well, and create that bit of responsibility that doesn't exist on the internet. And our private detector is launching in June, and it's AI that is able to detect when a lewd image has potentially been sent, so that you're protected from opening it. You'll get a pop-up that says, it's basically a warning saying that there's a chance that this is, obviously Bumble's not like looking at the messages, and these are not human moderators. This is through AI. And it's something that we're able to pick up and detect through trained machine learning and warn our users about it. And that way, what's incredible about that is because it's just so invasive and it's so inappropriate, and nobody wants to see that. And there's nothing worse than opening an image that was not what you were expecting. Interestingly enough, when we first launched, our very first feature was photo sharing. And with our photo sharing, your name and your photo were attached to your image. So it's basically a watermark. And if you send that was what we put into place originally to protect against, people not being held accountable for the images that they're sending online.
Wow.
We also banned shirtless bathroom mirror selfies.
Oh my God, I love
about
that.
a year in, we were like, this is nobody.
How long did it take to like get all of them off of it?
Yeah, honestly. They should make a t-shirt that's like banning shirtless mirror selfies since whatever year. Honestly.
Actually, we should.
There you go.
A t-shirt also that says like, put a shirt on.
Yeah, literally.
Put a shirt on.
Yeah. So we did that, and that had a great response. And then we publicly banned users who were using misogynist language. We banned hate speech and guns. We've taken a lot of stances through the years to really show that we are serious about the way that our users are treated and that safety is important to us. We have photo verification, which I am super passionate about.
Oh, wow. With ID?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's with, you follow a prompt of a photo of somebody and you basically make a hand gesture with your selfie, and that's where we have moderators who determine that you are the person in your image.
Wow.
In your images, so that you can feel safe meeting people online.
Wow.
I still always recommend doing like a FaceTime date beforehand, or at least a phone call, things so that you really feel, like just safety in general. It's, I think that we tend to forget the importance of looking out for ourselves all the time. In general, not just online, but I think that that's just part of our society and making smart choices.
Everyone's moving so fast. It's funny because the AI would have to be looking at tons and tons of dicks. Like, bless.
We should interview the AI
honestly. And like, is that your guys' technology?
Yeah.
No way. You guys should sell that to Instagram.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. 2 ideas. You're welcome. Because honestly, that technology is like, and especially too, like when you think of like a Snapchat, if they have age-gated material, like if there was something that was created that would help parents feel more comfortable about the way they interact online, and the fact that maybe on, Facebook chat or something like that, you could protect against lewd images, like with that data or with that technology, that's like insane.
It would send a text directly to the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or just protects it, and I don't know, like whatever the messaging would be with the pop-up, but that kind of technology like needs to be implemented so many places, because there are probably, I can only imagine when I was in high school, like I was getting weird shit. So it's like nowadays with the access to the different technologies and platforms and the creepers in the world, like there's probably so much of that.
No, there really is. And I think what we're trying to do now is to start sort of that movement of other companies getting behind and understanding the social responsibility of having social networks.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much to it that's on all of us to protect people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's been so nice about Bumble from the beginning, is that our users and their experience comes above our bottom line. Like we've always thought of each person who's registered on our app as humans, not just numbers. And I think that that's something that we will always continue to do. But that experience, I mean, I think I said this, that when we first launched it, we were trying to come up with a platform that our friends would use. And so that's always how we make our decisions, is what kind of platform would we want our friends using? Future children, future, like my niece and nephew, like what kind of world digitally do we want to exist? And how can we, make sure that that's taking place?
At what point did the team decide that you wanted to expand into Bumble friends and business and all of that? Like, what was the impetus for that?
So when Whitney first came up with the concept to start a new app, it was called Merci. And it was going to be a place where women complimented each other. It was like the dressing room of online social media. And that was what she wanted to do. And then her business partner, Andre Andreev, approached her about doing something in dating. But Whitney had always seen like that Bumble was going to be more than just dating. It was going to be a social network. And I think that a lot of that kind behavior that she wanted to put on Merci manifested itself into Bumble BFF. Mm-hmm. And Bumble BFF was something that not only our users were asking for an opportunity, it was saying like, this would be so great to have a place to find friends. But also we had all relocated to Austin, and none of us really had any friends, and none of us had any time to really meet anybody new. And so that was another reason why we thought it'd be a great platform to have. We also, I think that so much of misogyny too is women treating each other with really perpetuating the cycle of pushing each other down and trying to get ahead and competing. And I think that we are entering a new phase where women are being so supportive of one another, and that's incredible. But when BFF came around, that still wasn't the story. And we were trying to create a place that felt like you were reunited. We always said it was like the goal of Bumble BFF for us was women feeling like they were reunited with every girl that they'd met after a couple cocktails. Like, when you've had a couple cocktails, you're in the bathroom at a bar, and all of a sudden you're like trading lipstick and zipping up each other's dresses. And I think that is such an incredible space when women's that layer of competitiveness, and you meet a woman and you immediately feel like you're trained to be like, is she a threat to me, or feel threatened and prove yourself to that, like before friendship. And that's what we wanted to change with BFF. That's how that came about. That was in 2016 that we launched that. And then Biz was something that we were planning immediately thereafter. And interestingly enough, when Biz was something that we were talking about launching, I got a message that was a man hitting on me on another social professional network, and business professional network.
And wonder what that one is.
It was, those messages were so, it was just so uncomfortable and so unprofessional. And that I screenshot it and sent it through. And while we were talking about that feature, and it was like, this has to happen. Women have to have a different experience. And so on Biz, women make the first move too. So we wanted it to be a space where women can define the terms of the business interactions and networking, because I think that every woman can relate to, going to meet a man for a drink or a coffee,
I would never.
And feeling like you're going to meet for business and it turning into this like uncomfortable situation where you feel like you're on a date and you didn't sign up for a date. And it's very disempowering feeling. And then we launched Bumble Biz Women Only. So it's a place where women can connect and support each other in business.
I love that. For the people that are dating on Bumble, what are some of the profile things? Like, what are some things that you have seen as successful or help women be successful or help them feel really good about their profiles?
So I want to say one more thing about Biz and BFF in particular. If anybody listening is married or in a relationship or not interested in dating, you can hide dating from Bumble. So when you download the app, you can go into your settings, and when you're clicking through to decide which mode to go in, date, BFF, or Biz, there's a little X by date, and you can click that and it timestamps the last time that date was on your phone. So we wanted to be able to provide accountability for people who are in relationships to say, look, this hasn't been on my phone since May 1st. So you can use it just for friendship and business networking.
That's smart.
Good tips. That actually is honestly my favorite feature on the platform.
So money.
It is.
Show me. Yeah, honestly.
Show me.
Honestly. But I think the boys need to know that more than the girls.
Yeah. And with profiles, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of profiles.
I'm sure.
When Bumble first launched, I spent a lot of time using it, and I would actually doctor people's profiles because I learned very quickly what helped people have represent themselves online. Because the person, what we tend to do is, I'm sitting here with y'all, you're seeing that I have quirks and, things that make me. And then a lot of times, if I, without experience, went on and created a profile, which also there wasn't up until recently, we've been educating people on it, but there wasn't any guidelines really to how to best represent yourself online. There's especially now in the world of Instagram, there's Facetune and, all sorts of filters, literally you can make your face a dog, to mask who you are. And I think that unfiltered is the best approach to Bumble because you're looking for somebody. So anyway, what I was going to, I'll go back to that. But what I was going to say is that I would sit down when I was doing profile doctoring and meet people who were lovely and interesting and quirky and had all of these little nuances that made them them. And then you look at their profile and it's one very one-dimensional version of yourself that it's 6 photos that are 3 photos that are the same, with just a different outfit or different back. And it didn't show any depth. And I think what's really important is to put your true self out there. Whatever you think is the authentic version of yourself. If you like to hang out and eat pizza on the couch, whatever makes you is what you should be putting up there. All of your different interests. If you like to go to concerts, if you like to, go walk your dog by a lake or whatever it is, the things that tell your story should be the photos that you use. I recommend staying away from group photos because people have a harder time. And how I describe Bumble is if you're walking down the street in New York and you're passing people very quickly, you're looking for a connection. And that's what you're doing on the phone when you're scrolling through the profiles. And so if you have a group photo, it's harder to decipher who you are. And that just takes more time for somebody to register. It makes your profile almost a bit more overwhelming. Also, I think that modeling photos and photos that are super intense, like motorcycles or things that don't really describe who you are. If you identify that as because I know I have a lot of friends who are very deeply involved in motorcycle communities, and I think they would call it biking. It's probably really embarrassing that I called it motorcycle communities. Sounds super lame. And biking communities or whatever.
Also only in Texas, to be honest.
But if that's what that's how you identify, that's what you like to do, and you're looking for somebody to do that with you, put that on your profile. If you have one badass photo of you on a bike and you don't ride a bike, don't put that up. It's intimidating. It doesn't really describe who you are. And so finding these shots of you that might be great, but don't really define you, it doesn't help you find the right partner. And then I think with your bio, I would fill out all of the badges because that helps you set intentions and helps you set clear expectations of what you're looking for. And then I would, if you're into like funny banter, make your bio funny. If you are deeper in like philosophical conversations, like say that you're looking for somebody who really understands who you are. Let yourself be you, and you'll weed out people who aren't right for you a lot faster. Because there's nothing worse than having to like pretend to be something that you're not for a few months, and then getting into the relationship and realizing that, living up to some standard that you like version of yourself that's not true is exhausting.
Yeah. And I think that's like kind of the feeling when, the idea of your pictures and parts of you being on the internet, it's like, oh, I have to be a certain thing. So let me juice it up a little bit. But yeah, like it is creating more work, more heartache on the other side of it, because you're going to be attracting the wrong people because they're seeing someone that's not really you. So it's, how do you educate your users on this besides, the features?
I just, through constant education on social, everything. I think that
your socials,
through our ambassadors, I think all of it is making sure that people really understand that. But I think we do it more so than just on the app. Like I think that we tend to put forth false images of ourselves when we go out, when we're around people. It's hard to really show up and be you, and we're almost trained to be the opposite of who we are in order to land a relationship, especially as women. And I think that if you can be yourself, you really do save yourself the heartache.
I agree.
And for that, actually, just circling back on that legislature. So initiative, thinking about it, where would that go? Like, would that be a bill that would have to be passed by the House? Okay. And then, so that would be something that the police of like state police would take on? Or I'm just trying to think of like.
We're not there yet in terms of how it will be, like that, all of that is to be truly to be determined. But Whitney worked with, it's been in Texas and went in front of the Austin State Capitol and testified on behalf of it. It was really amazing.
Wow.
It was definitely a moment. And it's something that is just like an aha moment. Like, of course this should be, to me, of course this should be criminalized, right? This is so invasive. And what I think is really interesting about what we allow in our lives, it's like in setting boundaries, we don't really set boundaries digitally ever. So you go on, you'll be in bed at the end of the day, and you'll be like, we do this. We all do this. Like a lot of times, first thing you do is like check your phone, check your email, check your social media, and you're letting people into the most private, intimate parts of your life. And I think that whereas if like bullying used to be something that would only take place at school or out at night or wherever you were in the office, we bring all of that home with us and bring all of that into our space. And like adding on top of all of that, an unsolicited dick pic it's terrible. It's in your face. It's so violating. You feel so attacked personally, and it's traumatizing. And so we want to make that illegal.
I was also wondering just about like, if someone has an in-person experience that is not good, and I mean not good, meaning like there might be some inappropriate things. Maybe a guy meets a girl and she is married with kids, like just something like kind of like off color, but not necessarily violent. Like, is there a way to like report that, like, hey, this shouldn't be happening? Or is this kind of like, that's their own business? Just because if I'm thinking like, if a guy, Sam, has gone on a million dates with girls from Bumble and he's married, and maybe they found out or whatever, but they just don't date him anymore. Like, is like Sam's still on Bumble and then I'm like the next one? And you know what I'm saying?
When it's predator behavior, we are absolutely, we'll take action.
Yeah. So I would have to report it, or
you report it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Any behavior of any kind that's inappropriate or hurtful or harmful, emotionally or physically, we do take action against it.
Wow.
Which is, that's something that we have absolutely been trying to be at the forefront of. And I think that that's very rare for social networks in general. But to us, it's personal because we're talking about people are getting on our platform and trusting us with the most personal and relationships in their lives. From dating to friendship to business. You're looking for people who you're going to open up to and trust. And we take that very seriously.
Yeah.
What is something that you wish other social networks would do or know?
I wish other social networks would take responsibility for the experience of the user more. Truly. I think that, I think so much about future generations. And I think about kids and the amount of invasive behavior that takes place online. And how if your brain is still formulating the way that you think and view the world and you're getting bullied and harassed, how terrible it changes everything for you, and it can change the way that you view the world. And I think that, I really do see when you hop on your phone and you open it, I really do see it as a digital world. Like we're not really present here in this room anymore. We're in our phones, we're in that space online. And I think that it should be treated with the same amount of attention and detail and thought that we put into how we conduct ourselves out in public. And I think that that's something that has escaped us with the invention of the internet. And I think that it's time for us to really reevaluate the way that we allow people to treat each other online and to bring humanity to the internet.
What's up, Almost 30 Nation? It's Linz, and I'm so pumped because I'm talking to Maggie today. Nothing makes me happier when our community tries the products that we love so much and believe in. And I know that you are loving your Buffy comforter. Can you tell me more, Mags?
I love my Buffy comforter for a lot of reasons. One of them being I am super allergic to everything. So when I found out it was hypoallergenic, I said we had to jump on it. My husband and I are very, very different. I am a super, super cold person, and he is a super sweater.
Oh my God.
It's really bad. It's really bad. So he wakes up in the middle of the night with nothing on. It's awful. But it's been really great because we both enjoy it. It keeps me warm enough. It keeps him cool enough. No more night sweats.
Wow.
Super plus. And I also really like the fact that it's eco-friendly. So we've done a whole house upgrade recently, slowly by room, and having everything made from organic materials and helping by making it eco-friendly.
Wow, that is so incredible. You're inspiring me. Maggie mentioned that it's hypoallergenic, and yes, it is made from ultra smooth eucalyptus fiber, which is actually, in my opinion, softer than cotton. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's 100%.
It's so soft. So
it's so soft and cozy.
Yeah, it's so good. And that's so funny about your husband, but that makes me happy that you both really love it.
It's so good.
So good.
One last thing I will say. I think probably my favorite thing about getting the Buffy comforter was actually getting the eye pillow, because it came with a scented lavender eye pillow.
Oh my God, I know. It's spa day every day.
Every day.
I love the brand so much. So if you all want to try Buffy, we highly, highly recommend you can go to Buffy, BUFFY.co, and enter the code almost30 to get $20 off your Buffy bedding. That's Buffy, BUFFY.co, and enter the code almost30 for $20 off your Buffy bedding. Hi. Okay, so there's an emergency in my house. I just ran out of the Chipotle ranch dressing from Chosen Foods, which is an issue. I usually have backup, and I think I finished them all. Chosen Foods is our go-to for avocado oil-based salad dressings, avocado oil sprays, marinades, mayos. I love Chosen Foods. And I don't know if you know, but avocado oil has a 500-degree smoke point. So you can heat it at really high temperatures and you won't run the risk of it emitting toxins, basically free radicals. Olive oil has a 350-degree smoke point. Same with coconut oil. So I really trust avocado oil, and this is 100% pure organic. Just love them. And they're so creative and thoughtful about their different flavors. So as far as the mayos, I really, really dig the black garlic mayo. And then the avocado oil sprays are a cult favorite. I'm pretty sure Almost 30 Nation made them run out of a lot of them last time round, but I love the Simply Cinnamon. I love the citrus pepper. I'll spray that on like a salmon or a white fish and just marinate it and then sear it on either side. I also love just the pure organic avocado oil spray. Super easy. Spray it on anything, in a pan, on your food, on some popcorn. Get creative, but we love them. chosenfoods.com. You can use the code almost30 for 50% off your first order. So that's 50 off your first order. I would stock up. That's chosen, CHOSEN foods.com. Use the code almost30 for 50% off your first order. Any stories that, favorite stories from people who have met on Bumble or anything like that?
I have a ton.
I'm sure you do.
Those. There's a couple that I actually got ordained and did a surprise wedding for them in Vancouver. They lived like in the same block, went to the same dentist, went to the same coffee shop, 3 years, never met on Bumble, and were married within 4 months. That's a favorite. I've heard several stories like that where people just lived, they were neighbors and they never met until Bumble. That's to me is so incredible, because that just goes to show how we're all we could be at the grocery store, but we're looking at our phones. You could be passing by the people that matter in your life and you're not even looking up to see them anymore. And so I think Bumble gives you accessibility to the people that you're missing every day. As you're walking around in your life. A favorite story of mine, this is actually really interesting because to me, these are the types of stories that I'm particularly fond of with Bumble. Is there was a woman who met a guy on Bumble. They were going on a date and she was flustered and late, and she Ubered and she was like, "I'm so sorry. I had a hard time getting here because my car actually is spilling oil all over my garage and I'm not sure what to do about it, but I couldn't drive it." And he happened to work for a tire company, and he was like, "We're canceling dinner." They stopped at the grocery store. They picked up kitty litter and Snickers bars. And he went back and helped her soak up all of the oil and mop it up and take care of her car and get like the tow truck and everything that night, because her house would have caught on fire.
Wow.
And he knew how to handle it. She had no idea how to handle that, but he just happened to work in an industry where he understood it. And they're still good friends. So it's stories like that that I find the most interesting, where it's not necessarily the, heteronormative picture of success, which is marriage and kids, but instead it's, finding opportunities to have Bumble just help your life and create an experience for you in one way or another. I love people who meet up. There was a couple who met on Bumble and traveled the world together after just meeting. I think I've had stories, I love some of my own personal stories of people that I met on Bumble. I went to Niagara Falls on a first date after some FaceTime dates. That was really fun. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to just meet new people, and have different experiences. There's friend groups. There was a group of women in New York who went to Costa Rica together after meeting on BFF. There's two girls who I always see at events in LA who both moved to LA independently of each other, met on BFF, became roommates, and are like soul friends. Like they're like the best friends. There's a couple here in LA, and the one woman was afraid to come out, and she found the love of her life on date and came out through that process and is now engaged, and they're raising a kid together and There are just so many stories like these. I mean, everybody has a different story and everybody's version of success is different. And I think it's just a tool for introductions and meeting new people. But when we take the pressure off of it and like when you're not using it, panicked that you have to find the love of your life, the experiences that you can have are really endless. So many of the people that we worked with in the beginning, like so many of the partnerships that we had in the beginning were people that we met on Bumble.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Through dating or
through dating, actually.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I met a guy on Bumble and we ended up working with him on the Cake by the Ocean music video.
Cool.
But it's like all, you just never know who you're going to meet.
Wow. The last thing. So oftentimes I'll have guy friends say that on Bumble, the girls will just send an emoji and then that's it to like start the conversation and kind of put it back in their court. What do you think about that?
Let me guess. It's the wave.
Yeah. It's like the wave or like something.
Yeah. Look, I think whatever starts a conversation is okay with me. Would I rather it start with more questions? Yeah. But if it's so out of character for you and essentially you're blaming Bumble for it, like that's okay. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always say. People are like, well, I don't want to make the first move. I'm not somebody who does. When women say that, I'm like, you can blame Bumble. You have to. We're forcing you to. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. You just have to get the conversation going. So many people have ended up finding relationships and their first move was, hey, how are you? Or just something simple. I just think that it basically is that initiative that you're putting forward. And for a woman to say, do anything, if it's just an emoji, goes to show that you put yourself out there and let somebody know that you're interested. And I think that over time that will become way more normalized.
Yeah.
For sure. And probably more creative.
Yeah, honestly.
But at that point, I think whatever you can do to make a first move is empowering.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
You guys should write that like first move like playbook where it's like some really good opening.
We did.
Oh,
we
you
did. They're in the app. When you
in the app.
When you get to the boom screen, there's a little blue question mark. And we actually have, there's a blocker. So when you say, hey, it'll say need a stronger opener and it'll suggest prompts.
No way.
Damn, that wasn't happening. Okay.
What was that one
That's
that you had? That was a really good one. That one time with that guy that you went to the grocery store, Costco.
Oh,
he was like, I was like, it was like,
if you remember, say it. Because I'm kind of forgetting.
I'm trying to remember.
So he was like, he's a vlogger.
Yeah, it was.
And he asked me to, the first date was at Costco. And he's like, do you mind if I film this? Like it's a part of the vlog.
No way.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like,
is it out there?
Sure, man. Yep, it's on the internet.
I love that.
It was actually, and that was a case. And that's what I found with dating apps where like, after I kind of let go of my expectations a little bit and wasn't so like hard and fast on like, okay, the next one has to be the one. It was so fun. Like I met him. So fun. We literally rode the little carts around. We tried every sample in Costco. I never went out on another date with him again, but like he was awesome and kind. And like, I'm sure we would be friends if we lived a little bit closer. Oh, I wanted to say too, I heard you in an interview mention encouraging people, like if they are in different cities, to go on Bumble when you're in those cities. And some people would say like, well, I'm leaving. Like, what's the point? Or that sounds like, I would just want a quickie or whatever whatever the kids say these days.
Yeah.
But like, I loved your response to that. Do you mind reiterating that?
Totally. I think what's so nice about meeting people in different cities is that you get to see the city that you're in from the eyes of a local. So if you are in traveling and you have the opportunity to get on Bumble and meet someone new, it may not be forever. It might just be that you end up meeting a good friend who can, and that's what BFF is for. But if you can find people all over. And I think that some of the best kept secrets in cities are through the locals. And you can go on Google and search places to go, but it always ends up being kind of touristy. I think that the best way to get to know a city is through other people. And that's what I think Bumble is so useful for. I mean, you can have experiences and meet people from different like cultures that you would never have the opportunity to meet otherwise. And it's all there. It's in the platform. It's so easy to do and it's so accessible. And I think that's what's so unique about it. And is that if you can do it without putting pressure on yourself or putting pressure on the other person, you just don't know where that connection will take you. But that's life in general.
I know. That's why, an app like Bumble I do love because it's also like a little bit of a teacher and a little bit of a mirror, in that way, like dating is in general. But, in certain aspects of my life, I am not the first one to make the move, and to practice that in dating is really empowering and translates across the board. So I just love that, it's not just in the dating lane. It has, really beautiful repercussions outside of that and socially and culturally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm fascinated by the brand and how it just keeps like up-leveling and expanding.
Yeah. Last question from me. So as far as like your brand voice is so strong, and that's, a lot you. What would you say to small business owners, entrepreneurs, or people that have an established brand voice or looking to establish like a strong brand voice like Bumble?
I would say have an opinion and don't be afraid to show it. I think that you don't want to sound like someone else. Like you can look at brands and see what they're doing and try to imitate it, but it's never going to be authentic if you don't find what is authentic to what you're doing. I think that the easiest way to find that is to find your mission. As a company, we lead with the mission. The brand is secondary to what we're trying to accomplish. But I'm just a big believer. I'm a lot funnier on paper, but I'm a big believer in humor because I think that it's an equalizer for everybody. I mean, it's a moment that kind of you can take a heavier situation or topic and lighten it and make it something that people want to hear. And that's been interesting for us with Bumble is because we have been able to tackle issues that other brands can't because of the voice and that we've created and because of the brand that we've created and because we've done it in a way that has been assertive but unassuming and not taken itself too seriously. And I think that it gave us, because we had an opinion, we've been able to have one in a lot of issues and a lot of social issues that brands haven't been able to. But I also am a big believer in, like, especially if you're going to be taking on social issues, don't do it from a place of anger or yelling. Nobody hears, everybody shuts down. It's how do you approach something and get people to hear and actually listen and hear what you have to say. And I think that so much of that comes through humor and personality. I mean, Bumble's brand drinks tequila. We know this. Like, these are the different things about the personality of Bumble that have come across. And even figuring out like who this person is in people's lives. For us, Bumble became like a big sister figure. And how do you, and that's how we approach it in your life. And it's like a non-judgmental person in your life who's been around a little bit longer and has had experiences and isn't afraid to share them and isn't afraid to hear yours. And in the beginning, that helped us really get in touch with the audience of women that we wanted to feel empowered dating. But we were talking about things in the beginning that I think, for a brand to say and do and joke about were pretty big risks, but I think that if you aren't willing to take risks and you aren't willing to step out and differentiate yourself from the marketplace, in our case, we just really wanted to create a better environment for women. And what better way than to talk from a woman's perspective on the issues that were holding us all back. So
last question for me, I feel your passion and I gather you love your job very much and you're very, very good at it. And we know you're very good at it. I would love for our audience to hear kind of what you might be working on or struggling with right now, just, to see kind of the human side of you, because a lot of people strive to be as successful and love their job as much as you do, but feel like because they have these human qualities that they can't or they're not there yet.
Ooh, that's a great question. Are you looking for, because I can give you answers.
It could be anything.
Shortcomings, business, personal, all of it.
Anything that comes to mind.
I am really good at being hard on myself, and I'm learning to treat myself like my own best friend. That's something that I've been trying to get better about. My natural patterns that I fall back into are to be really difficult on myself. And I think that something that I've learned through the years is that if you're really hard on yourself, it opens you up to letting other people be hard on you too. And that just creates toxicity. I think in my personal life, I've been learning a lot about boundaries. I got divorced this past year. I don't have my shit together.
Oh, bless.
I am glad I did. I learned so much. I feel so much more equipped to be in relationships and know what I want. It was one of the hardest years of my life. I had, in last year alone, just so you know, it might seem like I have it all together, but I had a divorce. I totaled my car and I was hit by a drunk driver on drugs at 7:30 in the morning. I was at a stoplight and the car slammed into me with no brakes. I shouldn't have walked out of that wreck. And then I had surgery for endometriosis. And then I had a mold infestation that created mold toxicity in my body and ruined my entire life. I had to throw out custom furniture, like the whole thing. And so I think that everybody is going through things and nobody has life figured out. I think that the exciting part of it is being open to trying to figure it out and open to learning about yourself along the way. But last year was a challenging year for me because I was still getting up and going to work and traveling and doing everything that I do every day, but going through, all sorts of like traumatic events at the same time. And I think that it's okay to have to not be okay. But I think that the most important thing is to continue to get up and try to find the gratitude in life and meet yourself where you are. Because I think that it's also really easy to not be okay and then to shame yourself for not being okay. It's a lot easier to move for me. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. It was a lot easier for me to move through really hard events if I was gentle with myself instead of beating myself up. I find that it took longer in those situations. So
the mold infestation, how did you find out?
I was recovering from the surgery and I wasn't getting better and I was feeling really bad. And I found it in the vents and then realized, because I was traveling so much, I realized it was everywhere. It was airborne. There's powder all over everything that I owned. So I had to throw out my birthday cards from grandparents from years before. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons in life for me, was that things are just things.
Yep.
And so you learn in moments like that, you start to realize what actually matters in life. So, but it's all relative, right? Like that, that sounds like a rough year, but that's relative. Somebody else's year could be way worse. I think that you just have to take what happens to you and grow from opportunities to have those years. 'Cause looking back on any year that's been tough, I've realized that, I wouldn't change any of it. Anything that went down, no matter how much anxiety or stress or the stress it caused. I think that every time that you go through a year like that, they're defining years in your life that help you gain so much wisdom and insight into who you are.
Wow. That is so crazy. I guess how did you forgive the person that hit you? What was that?
It was super interesting. I got a call from, and speaking of somebody who doesn't have it all together, I never called back. I probably should have called back the city. They called me about it and they asked me what kind of punishment that I wanted. What did I want to see happen as the result of that court date? I was out of town for it, to the woman who did it. And I said back, whatever she needs to get help. Because if you're that hurt and in that much pain in your life that you're in that condition at 7:30 in the morning, obviously you need some sort of help.
Yeah.
And whatever, it didn't matter to me. Obviously it mattered what happened. I would hate to see, I just think that, I don't know. I don't like to see people suffer. And I was okay. But I think that whatever she needed to get the help to where she didn't hurt somebody else in the future or herself is what mattered. I never thought about that, actually. That's an interesting question.
Maybe you already have. That's probably forgiveness enough to say.
I don't think I ever was
angry.
Yeah. I really don't. I think So I was dealing with so much other stuff at the time that it was just like another day. It's like, all right, well,
we really get into the hospital. You're like, I guess I'll take my conference calls here.
I actually did. I called I did.
Oh, bless.
I actually called our travel agent and I was like, I just want you to know I'm not going to make my New York flight. And she was like, what are you doing? Like, get
better.
Don't, But I think that's hilarious. Yeah. That you
also
said that
like makes it normal. It's like, I think there is a comfort in just like having that kind of routine keep going. And
yeah,
I can imagine. Wow.
Welcome to your new life.
Truly.
Thank you.
Post-divorce, new house.
Yeah. Thank you. I think, it's been an incredible journey. And I feel like I took a lot of time last year and still this year doing a lot of inner work. And I think it's so important to do. And I think I feel more confident in who I am than I ever have. And so anybody going through anything bad, just know that you can get out the other side. And all of it are moments to learn that the person that you need to rely on, who you need to rely on the most is yourself.
Yeah. And to get back out there again, I think, a lot of people wait or they feel shame or they think they're going to be judged. But it's one, never too late, never too many times or whatever that is. It's just, I think it's a beautiful thing. So
yeah, I'm so grateful that we have a platform that can destigmatize divorce.
Yes, exactly.
In general, I think that, people wear it as a scarlet letter and it really isn't. And it's a learning experience and it's tragic for so many people. But it is a moment to reinvent your life.
Beautiful.
I see it as like a sign of commitment. I'm like, oh, they're willing to commit. They're interested in a long-term relationship. Like they're interested in seeing something evolve and grow, and it didn't work out. So I've always been like, I kind of think it as a good thing. Obviously, you don't want too many, but
it's a commitment to your commitment to your the willingness to commit, but also commitment to yourself in its own way.
Yes.
And I mean, what could make you grow more, than going through a marriage and a divorce, like, and like understand yourself in relationships is like. There's nothing more. So much.
I don't think anybody ever gets married. I've never met somebody who's gotten married with the intention of getting a divorce.
I mean,
literally.
Totally. Well, we're in LA. Never truly. I don't know about that.
Good point.
Yeah, literally. I know a few people.
Well, this has been really incredible to learn more about the brand and especially just like pulling back the curtain a little bit. I was on it for a while, not on it currently, but we do get so many questions in the group from our community and feeling, like they're hesitating to go back into that world because they've just gotten out of relationships or haven't dated in a while. And I'm just, we've always recommended Bumble, but I think this conversation will really just kind of support it all and encourage them to step into that space and make the first move.
Yeah. And we really admire you guys as a brand, just how you operate and how you navigate, our world and our world today. And having an opinion, like you said, we just really see that as an example for us to do it the right way and have a personality, like you guys have. So we love you. And man, you should do 100 podcasts. You are so good. Like, honestly.
She's like, actually, I have done 100 podcasts.
I know, honestly. She's like, you're my 400th. Where am I? What is this podcast?
You're in LA, Alex.
No, honestly, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you
so
for
articulate and present.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on your podcast and speak. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks for supporting Bumble. My gosh, I think that any opportunity that we can get women to get on there and change their perspective. We just want to flip a little bit and people's perspective of the world. And so I really appreciate that.
Of course.
Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Love you.
Bye.
Thanks so much to Alex for joining us. You can download the Bumble app or Biz, BFF, or dating. It's really fun. I love Bumble.
Thanks to the Bumble team for reaching out and helping us coordinate, for sending us flowers after the interview.
So sweet.
So sweet. Just, they know how to do it.
And we have a little message from someone in our community that really touched us. Karina in our community says, "Hi, almost 30. I came here to thank Krista and Lindsay for creating such a safe and encouraging space for us to follow our dreams. A few months ago, I shared with the Bay Area subgroup that I had created a nonprofit organization designed to support individuals experiencing homelessness and housing instability. Without ever meeting me previously, 3 women showed up at my door to volunteer. They took home Smile Snacks, which are uplifting supply bags exchanged between community members as a method of cultivating positive human connections. Founding a nonprofit at 22 years old has been intimidating, but their support assured me that more people would feel called to serve others in this capacity. So thank you to everyone in this group who cheers on one another during transformational times. If you are interested in Smile Sack Project's mission, you can learn more at smilesackproject.org.
Wow.
22 years old, Karina. Go girl.
Go girl.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I love that concept. I love that idea. And I love, that she not only created this opportunity to support others in the community, but to give other people the opportunity to serve.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this movement, our community, our lives. It means so very much that you are supportive of Lindsay and I and of Almost 30 Nation. Thank you for joining us on tour. We love to meet you and see you in person. You can get tickets at almost30podcast.com. If you're interested to start a podcast, join our workshop happening in January on the 25th at Biz Babes in downtown LA. That's an intensive workshop. And then stay tuned. We have retreats upcoming that are going to be announced. So if you're interested in joining us for one of our retreats, keep your eyes peeled.
We love you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
I love you. Bye.